May is always a tough month for me because it is my birthday in May, and when you pass a certain age, you just don't really like birthdays. The aging process is not fun, but at least I'll have a bunch of sneakers that'll help make me feel better that are dropping in May. So I'm gonna go through all the sneakers that I want for the month, and disclaimer, like always, the release dates for sneakers are just bonkers. They're fluid. As fluid as can be, it changes all the time. If I miss any or if I included any that don't actually drop in May, blame those corporations, do not blame me. Here we go. First up, it is the Kobe 9 Protro Wata that is dropping on May 21st for $240. Now, the shoe first dropped in January 2015, and it is one of those shoes, like a lot of Kobe releases, where the release date will probably change or likely to change, so don't blame me if this gets pushed back to June. But it has been a decade since this shoe came out. I know a lot of people don't like the Kobe 9 Elite Highs. Personally, I actually like and dig how crazy and funky they look. I grew up in a time where high-cut basketball shoes were still pretty common, so I've always had this nostalgia for high-cut basketball shoes, and this Wata, even though it's not as crazy as the Kobe 6 Protro Wata that just came out very recently, this one's not as crazy, but my love for Kobe Bryant just makes me gravitate towards a lot of his shoes. So you'll actually see reflective details throughout the upper of the shoe. Of course, that is Flyknit upper. And in terms of tech specs, React foam does replace the old Lunarlon foam. There's no Zoom Air in the shoe at all. That's one disappointing thing about the Protros. And there's no shank, but there is carbon fiber on the sidewalls that really helps with rigidity. The traction has also been updated with this one little tiny line for the Protro version, but the traction was always pretty good for the Kobe 9s, so there's not a lot of updating really required. Now, I do think there are quite a few Kobe 9 colorways that are better than this one, like the Masterpiece that came out not too long ago, the Christmas, Kobe 9 Christmas, actually retroed as well, or Protroed as well. I think that's a better colorway, but yeah, like I said, my love for Kobe Bryant just makes me gravitate towards his shoes, and anytime they come out, if they're just at least a decent colorway, I just really want to get my hands on them. Next up, it is the Jordan 3 Rare Air that is dropping on May 30th for $200. Now, we've seen two Jordan 1 Rare Airs already in 2025, and if you didn't know, the whole Rare Air series and concept is meant to reference like early samples, prototypes, or mistakes that Jordan brand has made before releasing like an actual final version of the shoe. And this Jordan 3 in particular, the one glaring kind of difference between this and a normal Jordan 3, of course, it is the booty tab. So you see the Nike Air is actually inverted on the right shoe, and they have also replaced the elephant print with just like plain suede. They've done that on a lot of Jordan 3s, so that's not exactly too uncommon. And the use of red and blue here, I think it works pretty well. There's not too much of either color where it kind of just really conflicts with the black base, but just a red Jumpman as well as some hints of blue, I think makes this colorway really good. And the shoe does have Rare Air branded insoles as well as a custom box with Michael Jordan's face on it. I don't love the whole sail and aged look on this colorway, but if they're going for a particular theme, I can't complain too much. In a vacuum, I do prefer if it was white. I've actually already recorded my review of this shoe, so if you want to know more details, definitely keep an eye out on that one. Next up, it is the Nike SB Dunk Rodeo that is dropping on May 7th for $135. This shoe has been delayed so many times that I just have no idea if this shoe is ever going to come out. May 7th is what I'm hearing. Some like select retailers have already got raffles up for this shoe. And this is meant to celebrate cowboys, more reference to cowboy culture. Originally, a lot of people speculated that this was supposed to be for Black History Month. It never came out in February, which is Black History Month, and I've actually already reviewed this shoe. So if you want to know the origin story of that, I go into a bit of that in the intro of that review, so definitely check that out. But this shoe, I love the storytelling of it. I may not like in a vacuum love the colorway of the shoe. That's very minty green. Isn't exactly my thing, a bit too loud in my opinion, but I just really love how they executed the story. So you see this very distinct Sonora stitching pattern that's on the heel, wrapping around on the booty on the heel counter. It is that Western star playing into the cowboy theme. Inside the tongue, you see it's custom branded, and then the Nike on the booty tab that is meant to look like a lasso. It also comes with a custom box with a handkerchief inside. But yeah, just a lot of details on this shoe. And of course, the thick rope-like laces play right into the theme. There are two sets of laces, so pick which one you want. I don't know much about cowboy culture, but when I reviewed the shoe, I searched it up, actually read some history behind cowboys, and it's actually pretty fascinating. So even though I don't love the colorway of the shoe, I do like the storytelling of it. Next Next up, it is the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Psychic Blue that is dropping on May 23rd for $230. Again, this is a shoe that I've actually already reviewed. I am a sucker for this UNC powder blue, baby blue, whatever shade you want to call it. I'm just a sucker for it. So needless to say, even as someone that's not like a huge Foamposite guy, when images of this shoe first came out, I was like, this is yum. I like this Foamposite. Now there's a few different modifications to this Foamposite. It's actually kind of subtle, but when you see it in hand and feel it in hand, yeah, you can definitely notice the difference. So first, a lot of recent Foamposites have this like reflective metallic look to it. This one doesn't. It's got kind of like a matte aesthetic, but in hand, it doesn't have like that finish, like that texture. Like the Dreamer World Foamposites, you could feel it was different. This one still felt smooth to the touch, and the eye stays of the shoe, the original Foamposites came with synthetic nubuck, and a few years ago they changed that to like synthetic leather, changed it back to synthetic nubuck on recent foams. With this shoe though, it's a very weird material. It almost feels like maybe synthetic nubuck with like a smooth layer over it. It's just very hard to describe, but it is smooth. It doesn't feel like that usual synthetic nubuck that you might come to expect on a Foamposite now, but it's different. And on the heel of the shoe, wrapping all the way around the booty, it is that material too, so you don't see that kind of fabric texture on other like general release foams. So very slight modifications there. See this translucent outsole that I always love on foams. But it seems like Nike's kind of taking a quality over quantity approach to Foamposites in 2025, and I'm very glad they're doing that. And next, it is the Jordan 1 UNC Reimagined that is coming out on May 10th for $180. Of course, we got the Lost and Found. This goes after a very similar theme with a very aged look. So the whole idea with the Lost and Found is if you found a Jordan 1 Chicago from 1985, what would it look like? So it came with a vintage distressed box with that cracked leather, as well as the receipt that came with the box. For the shoe, it goes with the same cracked leather aesthetic, the aging color of it, distressed and vintage looking box, no receipt. I've actually recorded my review of this shoe as well, so keep an eye out for that video. But one thing that I didn't love about this shoe on the retailer images that are coming out very recently was how dark and like just aged it looked on the upper. I get the whole theme, even though I just would have preferred like the original UNC colorway, but I get the theme. But there's something about the recent images that just made the upper look a bit too aged, like it looked too dark. But in hand, I'm glad to say it didn't look as dark as the photos. So it might have just been a lighting issue. And even though I'd still prefer the original, just Jordan 1 UNC with the white leather. As a UNC blue lover, it's my favorite color on Jordan brand sneakers. Can't say no to this one. Next, it is the Kobe 6 Pro-Tro Dodgers that is dropping on May 30th for $190. Now, this shoe was originally a PE that Vanessa Bryant gave to Dodgers players back in 2024. They would go on to win the championship. Undefeated actually already released this shoe, and I've already reviewed this shoe as well. So again, if you want to know more details, check out my detailed review. But even as a non-baseball fan, I could care less about the sport. I don't follow it. This colorway is great. It is great. You can't really go wrong with blue, white, and red. It just works so well together, and oh, I don't know much about the Dodgers, but it's a delicious looking colorway. And there's some extras to this specific Kobe 6 Pro-Tro. So you see the red stitching on the tongue. That is meant to mimic a baseball, as well as number 8 on the heel. Obviously, Kobe wore number 8 for half his career. And the Pro-Tro part of this is they replaced the Phylon midsole that came with the original Kobe 6s with Cushlon foam, as well as a Zoom Turbo unit on the forefoot. They did remove the Zoom Air on the heel, so nothing there, no more. Kinda disappointed in that, but what is not disappointing is this colorway being made available to the public. Next up, it is the Jordan 3 Soul 2.0 that is dropping sometime in May. Not too sure, details haven't come out yet, but this shoe originally came out in 2018. It was meant to celebrate the 1988 Seoul Olympics, and this is an updated version of that colorway. We've already seen a member of BTS, the K-pop band, wear it at a Lakers game, so it does exist. But there's a few changes to this 2.0 version. So you get this yellow midsole that is different. Of course, I had to go with the pre-aged midsole. They couldn't help themselves. The elephant print is also more vintage and distressed. The eyelets are also no longer black, and of course you get the South Korea flag on the tongue instead of just the Jumpman. And that blue ankle collar now features stitched cotton and it's not leather, so they changed up the materials. That is a reference to traditional Korean garments. And the unboxing experience also looks to heavily draw upon Korean traditions. Now I can't wait to get my hands on this shoe, and I can't wait to see the storytelling of the shoe. It's gonna be great. Now next up, it is the Nike A1 Pink Aura that is dropping on May 6th for $110. Now I've been waiting for this shoe for a long time. If you didn't know, it is the first signature shoe for A'ja Wilson, 3-time WNBA MVP, champion, Olympic gold medalist, all the accolades you would need. It's her first signature shoe, and when images first came out, I was like, this is a delicious looking shoe. It looks so sleek, very simple, but very sleek. And in this pink aura colorway, it is great. Honestly, all the colorways that have come out so far, like that blue colorway, that ice cold looking one, delicious. The one that is like black and pink, delicious. The all white one, super sleek. The pink aura, this is the first one that's coming out, and my god, I cannot wait to get these in hand, wear it on court, and just see how it performs. Now in terms of tech specs, this comes with Krishlan 3.0 foam with a Phylon carrier, very similar to the Sabrina 2s that I absolutely love. The traction, according to Nike, is micro-tuned, and then the outsole also has a saying that her grandmother used to say to her, which is, as a matter of fact, the best is yet to come. And there are Celtic symbols for mom and dad inside the tongue, and the heel, it says weakness, weakness. We don't have time for that. No, we do not. No weaknesses allowed. And her logo, that's actually inspired by her signature. She always like draws a star in the A, and that is also a reference of her being an A1 hooper. Again, this is all according to Nike, not just making it up. Now, I must say the women's division and Nike basketball are just absolutely destroying it. The Sabrina 2 is easily my favorite basketball sneakers right now, my favorite for all of 2024. And if this performs as good as the Sabrina 2s, they've got another winner on their hands. Next up, it is the Jordan 12 Mellow that is dropping on May 17th for $200. This shoe originally debuted during Carmelo Anthony's rookie season in 2003 to 04. He's a Jordan brand athlete. He's actually had quite a few memorable PEs, and the Mellow 1.5s, for some reason, I just really like that silhouette. Love that shoe. Please bring it back. He's one of the best Jordan brand athletes ever. One of the more outstanding ones. And this Jordan 12, it might not be hyperbolic to say that it is my favorite Jordan 12 colorway maybe ever. I love that UNC blue. The powder blue is just delicious, and the just cleanliness of how it looks on this silhouette in terms of just the setup on this, very similar to a regular Jordan 12, but it has the whole Denver Nuggets colorway baked into it. And when he first wore this shoe, this colorway, I was like, one day I need this shoe, and I never actually thought I'd be able to get my hands on these, but I'm getting my hands on these. It is a must need, but even though it is Michelin star rated, it is still not number one, because the number one for May 2025, it is the Air Jordan 4 White Cement that is dropping on May 24th for an absurd $225. Of course, this is an OG colorway. I actually put up a YouTube post. It's a poll about which OG colorway you would prefer. I'm curious to see where the rest of the results fall. But the Jordan 4 White Cement came out originally in 1989, retroed in 98, came back in 2012, came back again in 2016, which was the last time we saw this colorway, and oh yeah, really looking forward to this, because Jordan 4s are one of the best shoes just in sneaker history. It might just be one of the best things in history. You know, just historically one of the best things in history. Even in a stacked 2025, this, I feel like, I predict, is going to be one of the standouts. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of what I want in 2025, what shoes that I missed, what shoes that you agree with, that you really want. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes